My name is Lara de la History, and today our topic will be delving into the Umayyad state of Cordoba, known as the Emirate of Cordoba and the Caliphate of Cordoba. Originally ruled by the Visigoths, they would fall to these Umayyads, who would fall to the Abbasids, though in Spain, a prince of the dynasty would make his own caliphate. We will be discussing their history, their culture, and their downfall. So without further ado, let us get into the topic. Before the Muslims, the followers of the Prophet Muhammad, arrived to Hispania, the Visigothic kingdom held sway over the Iberian Peninsula. Before was the Western Roman Empire, but the Western Roman Empire has been gone for over 2 centuries, not even two, over 4 centuries. The Byzantines tried to conquer the Visigoths, but they were largely unsuccessful. The Visigoths themselves were a Germanic tribe, but however, by this point, they were largely Christianized and had a lot in common with Proto-Spanish and Navarrese people. They, however, were unstable, for most of their existence, and political infighting would be one of many reasons the kingdom fell. Muslim expansion didn't occur until 711, so the recorded history we have of the Muslims was small raids. However, this would change as a general by the name of Tariq ibn Ziyad entered Iberia and won the famous and decisive Battle of Guadalete. After this, Iberia was fully under the control of the Umayyad Dynasty centered in Arabia. The Umayyads in Arabia, however, were replaced by the Abbasid Caliphates. One prince, however, named Abd al-Rahman, would escape to Hispania. Eager for a seat of power, feeling wronged, he deposed the governors of the area and made himself the first Emir of Cordoba, though they were nominally under the authority of the Abbasids over in Baghdad. For the next 275 years, the descendants of Abd al-Rahman would rule over Cordoba in one form or another, sometimes controlling parts of the Maghreb, Northwest Africa, though they found themselves in many conflicts with the Christians bordering to the north, notably the Kingdom of Asturias, which would later transform into the Kingdom of Lam. The Fatimid Caliphate, a Shiite Islamic state, threatened the Abbas's legitimacy, and threatened the Umayyads in Iberia as well. In 912, the Emir Abd al-Rahman III ascended the throne, willing to challenge both the Abbasid and the Fatimids, proclaimed himself Caliph as well. Now there were three caliphs in the world. How confusing. Under Abd al-Rahman, however, he resisted these attacks from the Fatimids, brought the Christian kingdoms up north under his control through sheer military might, and their economy was very prosperous. This was the peak of Cordoba, the most powerful state in Iberia, and one of, if not the most prestigious, and learned courts of the Mediterranean and Western Europe at the time. Not even the kingdoms of West Francia, of Italy, not even the papacy could compete with the Umayyad Caliphate. Religions such as Judaism, Christianity, and more were allowed to grow under Abd al-Rahman's religious tolerancy. Culture flourished, and under his son al-Hakam, Cordoba reached its peak in scholarly and intellectual levels. Al-Hakam, however, focused on this only, delegating much of the rule of the caliphate to others. This showed cracks within the system, and the puppeting of the caliphate, which would show its downfall. Under al-Mansur, al-Hakam's top advisor and soon to be his son's regent, the caliphate initiated several military reforms, and it won many military battles. Cordoba itself was known as Da Jihad for attracting many zealous and able volunteers to the army, though this proved to be fruitless in the long run. At this point, the title of Caliph was dead and little more of a courtesy title. becoming symbolic and wielding no true power, as many contested for the throne. Almanzor's death in 1002 left many factions competing for power within Cordoba. To make situations worse, the fitna of Al-Andalus occurred with many others trying to become caliphs themselves. This would do no good as numerous interventions, territory lost by the Christian kingdoms, and factionalism was used in the court, brought an unfortunate end to the Emirate of Cordoba in 1031. Many taifas formed as a result of the collapse. The culture of Cordoba was a rich and large combination of Jewish, Visigothic, and Arabic influences. Many structures from the Islamic period still persist today, such as the Alhambra, the Court of Lions, and definitely not least, the Great Mosque, centered in Cordoba. Islamic architecture was one of the most beautiful of its time and is still preserved today. As stated before, it was one of the most important and intellectual places in Western Europe at its time. It was noted for its religious tolerance, allowing it to be stable. Even today, almost 1,000 years later, in 2026, the influence of Cordoba still lingers in Spain, as part of Spanish culture comes from this period, and many architecture still stands from this period. And that is the end of the video. Next week, or perhaps Thursday, I will talk about the Taifas, and I will talk about how the Islamic kingdoms, well, Islamic duchies, survived until the age of the Renaissance. I will also talk about its outside influences, and for that, that is the end of the video. Make sure to like, subscribe, and until then, adios, mi amigos.